Hey, my friends, this is Ryan, and welcome back to Fluent Flow English Podcast. Let me ask you something. You know English, but you cannot speak it. Why? You understand when you read, you understand when you listen, but when someone asks you a question, your mind goes blank. You know the words, you studied the grammar, but somehow you cannot speak. Does this sound familiar? If it does, you are not alone. Millions of learners around the world have the same problem. They can read and write English well, but when it is time to speak, they freeze. They feel nervous. They translate in their head. They worry about making mistakes, and because of this, they stay silent. But here's the truth. The problem is not your English level. The problem is how you practice and how you think about speaking. Some learners with less vocabulary speak fluently and confidently. Others with advanced grammar never open their mouths. The difference is not knowledge, it is mindset and practice. In this episode, I am going to show you exactly why you struggle to speak and how to fix it. You will learn how to stop translating and start thinking in English. You will learn how to build speaking speed with simple techniques. You will learn how to overcome fear and speak with confidence, even if you are a beginner. And you will get a clear, step-by-step action plan that you can start using today. By the end of this episode, you will understand that fluency and confidence are not talents you are born with. They are skills you can build. And I am going to show you how. So stay with me until the end, because this episode will change the way you think about speaking English. Let's start with the biggest mistake that keeps you stuck, the translation trap. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that when you read English or listen to a podcast, you understand almost everything? But when someone asks you a question in English, your mind goes blank? You know the words, you studied the grammar, but somehow you cannot speak. Why does this happen? The answer is simple but powerful. You are stuck in the translation trap. Most learners translate every sentence from their native language to English before they speak. This creates a big problem. Translation makes you slow, unnatural, and exhausted. Every time you want to say something, your brain does this. Think in your language, translate to English, check if it sounds right, then finally speak. By the time you finish this process, the conversation has moved on. Fluent speakers do not translate. They think directly in English. When they want to say something, the words just come out. No translation, no delay, no mental gymnastics. This is the biggest difference between hesitant speakers and fluent speakers. It is not about vocabulary or grammar. It's about how your brain processes the language. Let me give you an example. Imagine you want to say, "I am hungry." A learner stuck in translation thinks "Eu estou com fome" in their head, then translates it to "I am hungry," then speaks. A fluent speaker just thinks "I am hungry" and says it immediately. The difference seems small, but it changes everything. One person speaks naturally, the other person struggles. The translation trap also makes you sound unnatural. When you translate word by word, you use sentence structures from your native language, not English. This creates sentences that are technically correct but feel strange to native speakers. For example, in Portuguese, you might say, "Tenho 25 años," which translates to, "I have 25 years." But in English, we say, "I am 25 years old." If you translate directly, you sound robotic. So breaking the translation habit is the first and most important step to fluency. But how do you do it? How do you stop your brain from translating and start thinking in English? The good news is that it is simpler than you think. You do not need to move to an English-speaking country or take expensive classes. You just need to practice a few simple techniques every day. And the first technique is so easy, you can start doing it right now, even if you are a complete beginner. Let me show you how. The technique is called narrate your day, and it is one of the most powerful ways to start thinking in English. Here's how it works. As you go through your day, describe what you are doing in English, out loud or in your head. It sounds simple, and it is, but this simple practice rewires your brain to think in English instead of translating. Let me give you some examples. When you wake up in the morning, you can say, I am waking up. I am stretching. I am getting out of bed. When you make breakfast, you can say, I am making coffee. I am pouring milk. I am eating toast. When you walk to work or school, you can say, I am walking. I see a dog. The weather is nice today. You do not need perfect sentences. You just need to practice thinking in English. At first, this will feel strange. You might feel silly talking to yourself. But remember, no one is listening. This is private practice. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. After a few days, you will notice that English words start coming to your mind faster. You will stop translating. You will start thinking in English automatically. Another helpful technique is labeling objects in your home. Put small sticky notes on things like your fridge, your door, your mirror, and write the English word on them. Every time you see the object, say the word out loud and use it in a sentence. For example, if you see the word fridge, you can say, This is my fridge. I open the fridge. There is food in the fridge. This builds your English thinking brain without extra study time. You can also practice thinking in English during small moments throughout the day. When you are waiting in line, think about what you see in English. When you are on the bus, describe the people around you in your head. Before you go to sleep, recap your day in English. These small moments add up. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. By the end of the week, you have practiced for hours without even realizing it. The key is consistency. You do not need to do this for hours every day. Even 5 or 10 minutes is enough. The goal is to make English a natural part of your thinking, not something you only use when you study. When you think in English regularly, your brain starts to process the language faster, and when your brain processes faster, you speak more fluently. So, starting today, try the narrate your day technique. Pick one activity, like making breakfast or getting ready for work, and describe it in English. Do this every day for 1 week. You will be surprised at how much faster your brain starts working in English. And once you start thinking in English, the next step is to build speed, because thinking in English is the foundation, but to speak fluently, you also need to speak quickly and naturally. Let me show you how to do that. Here is something most learners do not realize. Fluency is not about knowing every word in the dictionary. It's about using common phrases automatically, without thinking. This is called chunking, and it is the secret to speaking fast and naturally. What is a chunk? A chunk is a group of words that go together, like, I would like to, can you help me with, it depends on, or I'm not sure if. Native speakers do not build these phrases word by word. They use them as whole units. When you learn chunks instead of individual words, you speak faster because your brain does not need to construct every sentence from scratch. Let me give you an example. Imagine you want to say, I would like to order a coffee. A beginner might think, I plus would plus like plus to plus order plus a plus coffee. That is 7 separate pieces. But a fluid speaker thinks, I would like to order a coffee. That is only 2 chunks. The sentence comes out faster and smoother because the brain is doing less work. The best part is that you do not need to learn thousands of chunks. Research shows that just a few hundred high-frequency chunks cover most everyday conversations. Phrases like, I think that, what do you mean, let me know, as far as I know, I am looking forward to, and it makes sense are used all the time. When you master these chunks, you sound fluent even if your vocabulary is still limited. So how do you practice chunking? First, make a list of 10 to 20 common chunks that you hear often in podcasts, videos, or conversations. Write them down. Then practice saying them out loud over and over until they feel automatic. You can do this while you cook, while you walk, or before you go to bed. The goal is to train your mouth and brain to produce these chunks without thinking. Another great technique is to use chunks in real sentences. For example, take the chunk "I would like to" and create 5 different sentences. I would like to learn English. I would like to travel. I would like to ask a question. I would like to try this. I would like to understand better. This helps you see how the chunk works in different contexts, and it makes it easier to use in real conversations. You can also practice by listening to a podcast or video and noticing the chunks that speakers use. Pause and repeat them. Shadowing is a powerful technique. You listen to a sentence, pause, and repeat it exactly as you heard it, copying the rhythm and intonation. This trains your brain to recognize and produce chunks naturally. The more you practice chunks, the faster you will speak, and the faster you speak, the more fluent you sound. But here's the thing, speed is useless if you're too scared to open your mouth. Many learners can think in English and know all the right chunks, but they still do not speak because they're afraid. So let me tell you something important. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build. And the first step to building confidence is changing how you think about mistakes. Let me ask you something. When you make a mistake in English, how do you feel? Embarrassed? Frustrated? Like you failed? Most learners feel this way. They think mistakes mean they're not good enough. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not the enemy of fluency. Fear of mistakes is. Every mistake you make is proof that you are trying. It is proof that you are learning. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. They say "I seen" instead of "I saw." They forget words. They stumble over sentences. And no one cares, because communication is not about perfection. It is about connection. If the other person understands you, you succeeded. Think about it this way. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child falls down many times, but do we say the child is bad at walking? No, we say the child is learning. Every fall is progress. Every mistake brings the child closer to walking confidently. The same is true for you in English. Every mistake is a step forward, not a step back. The problem is that many learners compare themselves to native speakers or advanced learners and feel discouraged. They think, "I will never sound like them." But fluency is not about sounding like a native speaker. It's about expressing yourself clearly and confidently, even with an accent, even with small grammar mistakes. What matters is that you communicate. Let me share a quick story. I once met a learner named Maria. She was terrified of speaking English because she was afraid of making mistakes. One day, she decided to try anyway. She went to a cafe and ordered in English. She said, "I want 1 coffee, please." The grammar was not perfect, but the barista understood. Maria got her coffee, and she felt so proud. That small moment changed everything for her. She realized that mistakes do not stop communication. Fear does. So the first step to building confidence is to reframe how you think about mistakes. Stop seeing them as failures. Start seeing them as lessons. Every time you make a mistake and learn from it, you get better. And the more you practice, the fewer mistakes you make. But you have to start. You have to be willing to try, even if you are not perfect. Now, mindset is powerful, but it is not enough. You also need practical strategies to feel confident when you speak. So let me give you 3 simple strategies that will help you speak with more confidence, starting today. These strategies work even if you are shy, even if you are a beginner, and even if you have never spoken English out loud before. Let me show you what they are. Strategy number 1. Start with low-pressure practice. You do not need to jump into a conversation with a native speaker on day one. That is too much pressure, and it will make you more nervous. Instead, start by talking to yourself. Yes, you heard that right. Talk to yourself in English. You can do this anywhere, in your room, in the shower, while you cook. Describe what you are doing. Ask yourself questions. Answer them. For example, what am I going to do today? I'm going to study English. Then I'm going to make lunch. What do I want to eat? Maybe pasta. This is safe, private practice. No one is judging you. You can make as many mistakes as you want. Another low-pressure option is to record yourself. Use your phone and record yourself speaking for 1 or 2 minutes. Talk about your day, your hobbies, your goals. Then listen back. This helps you hear your own voice and notice what sounds good and what needs work. At first, you might feel uncomfortable hearing yourself, but the more you do it, the more confident you become. You can also use language apps or AI chatbots to practice. These tools let you speak without the fear of judgment. You can practice asking questions, ordering food, introducing yourself. It is like a rehearsal before the real performance. And the best part is, you can do this anytime, anywhere, even if you do not have a language partner. Strategy number 2. Prepare key phrases before conversations. If you know you're going to have a conversation in English, prepare a few phrases in advance. Think about what you might say and practice it. For example, if you're going to a job interview, practice phrases like, "I'm excited to be here." "Can you tell me more about this position?" Or, "I have experience in this area." When you prepare, you feel more confident because you already know what to say. You can also create a mental script for common situations. For example, when you meet someone new, you can prepare, "Hi, my name is X. Nice to meet you. Where are you from?" When you order food, you can prepare, "Can I have a coffee, please? And a sandwich." These small scripts give you a safety net. Even if the conversation goes in a different direction, you have a starting point. Strategy number 3. Focus on communication, not perfection. Remember, the goal of speaking is to be understood, not to be perfect. If you say, "I go to the store yesterday," instead of "I went to the store yesterday," the other person will still understand you. Yes, the grammar is wrong, but the message is clear, and that is what matters. When you focus on communication, you stop worrying so much about every little mistake. You relax, you speak more naturally. And when you relax, you actually make fewer mistakes because your brain is not stressed. So before you speak, remind yourself, my goal is to communicate, not to be perfect. This simple mindset shift will make you feel so much more confident. These 3 strategies work, but there is one more thing you need to know. Confidence comes from practice, and not just any practice, real practice, the kind of practice where you actually use your voice and speak out loud. So let me show you how to create speaking opportunities every single day, even if you do not have a teacher or a language partner. This is where fluency really starts to grow. Here's the good news. You do not need a teacher or a language partner to practice speaking. You can create speaking opportunities by yourself every single day. And the best part is, these opportunities are free, flexible, and you can do them anytime, anywhere. The first technique is shadowing. Shadowing means you listen to a podcast, video, or audiobook in English and you repeat what you hear out loud at the same time. You try to copy the speaker's rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation. This trains your mouth to produce English sounds naturally. It also helps you learn how native speakers connect words and use stress in sentences. You can shadow anything: a YouTube video, a podcast episode, a movie scene, even a song. Start with something slow and clear, like this podcast. Listen to a sentence, pause, and repeat it. Then listen again and try to repeat it at the same time as the speaker. Do this for 5 to 10 minutes a day. You will be amazed at how much this improves your fluency and pronunciation. Another powerful technique is thinking out loud. This is similar to the narrate your day technique, but you go deeper. Instead of just describing what you are doing, you share your thoughts and opinions in English. For example, I think English is difficult, but I am getting better. I want to travel to the United States one day. I am not sure when, but I will keep practicing. This helps you practice expressing ideas, not just facts. You can also record voice messages to yourself. Pretend you are talking to a friend. Record a 1-minute message about your day, your plans, or something interesting you learned. Then listen back and notice what you did well and what you can improve. This is like having a conversation with yourself, and it builds confidence because you are using your voice in a real way. Now, let me tell you about real-life opportunities. Even if you do not live in an English-speaking country, you can find small moments to practice. You can order food in English on an app. You can leave a comment in English on a YouTube video. You can join an online community or forum where people discuss topics you care about. These are low-pressure, real-world opportunities to use English. If you want to take it a step further, you can find a language exchange partner online. There are free apps and websites where you can talk to people who want to learn your language, and you help each other. You speak English for 15 minutes, they speak your language for 15 minutes. It is a win-win. And because you are both learners, there's less pressure to be perfect. The key is to practice speaking every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. 10 minutes of real speaking practice is better than 2 hours of passive listening or reading. When you use your voice, you train your brain and your mouth to work together, and the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. But here's the thing. Even with all this practice, there will be days when you feel like you're not improving, days when you feel stuck or discouraged. So, let me tell you how to stay motivated, even when progress feels slow. Fluency is not built in one big leap. It's built in small steps. And because the steps are small, it's easy to miss them. You practice every day, but you don't feel like you're improving. This is normal. Progress in language learning is not linear. Some days you feel great. Other days you feel like you forgot everything. But trust me, you are improving. You just need to learn how to see it. The first way to stay motivated is to celebrate small wins. Did you speak English for 5 minutes today? That is a win. Did you use a new chunk in a sentence? That is a win. Did you understand a podcast episode without subtitles? That is a win. These small moments matter. They add up. And when you celebrate them, you train your brain to see progress, not just problems. I recommend keeping a speaking journal. Every day, write down one thing you practiced and how you felt. For example, today I practiced the chunk, I would like to. I used it in 3 sentences. I felt more confident. This simple habit helps you see your progress over time. When you look back after a month, you'll be surprised at how much you have grown. Another powerful way to track progress is to record yourself once a week. Talk about the same topic every week. For example, my goals for learning English. In week 1, you might struggle to find words. In week 4, you will speak more smoothly. In week 8, you will sound completely different. This is proof that you are improving, even if you do not feel it day to day. You can also compare yourself to your past self, not to other people. It's easy to look at fluent speakers and feel discouraged, but they have been practicing for years. You are on your own journey. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Are you a little better than yesterday? Then you're winning. Motivation also comes from enjoying the process. If you only focus on the goal of fluency, you will feel frustrated
because fluency takes time. But if you enjoy the journey, if you have fun practicing, if you celebrate small wins, then the process becomes rewarding. And when the process is rewarding, you keep going. You stay consistent. And consistency is the secret. It is not about practicing for hours once a week. It is about practicing a little bit every single day. Even 10 minutes a day is enough, because consistency builds habits, and habits build fluency. So let me tell you about the 10-minute daily rule and why it is more powerful than you think. Here's a question. Would you rather practice English for 2 hours once a week or for 10 minutes every day? Most people think 2 hours is better because it is more time, but the truth is 10 minutes every day is far more effective. Why? Because consistency builds habits, and habits build fluency. When you practice every day, even for a short time, your brain stays connected to English. You do not forget what you learned, you build on it. Every day you add a little more. Over time, these small additions become big progress. But when you practice only once a week, your brain forgets most of what you learned between sessions. You spend the first 30 minutes just trying to remember. You are starting over every time. Think of it like going to the gym. If you exercise for 2 hours once a week, you'll be sore and tired, and you won't see much progress. But if you exercise for 10 minutes every day, your body gets stronger, your habits get stronger, and you see results faster. The same is true for English. Small daily practice is the key. So what does a 10-minute daily routine look like? Here is a simple example. Spend 5 minutes thinking in English. Narrate what you are doing, describe what you see, or talk about your plans for the day. Then spend 5 minutes speaking out loud. Practice a chunk, shadow a podcast, or record yourself talking about a topic. That's it, 10 minutes. But do it every single day. You can fit this into any schedule. Do it while you make breakfast. Do it on your commute. Do it before you go to bed. The key is to make it a non-negotiable part of your day, like brushing your teeth. You do not skip brushing your teeth because you're busy. You do it because it's a habit. Make English practice a habit too. Another tip is to link your English practice to something you already do every day. This is called habit stacking. For example, after I drink my morning coffee, I will narrate my day in English for 5 minutes. Or, before I go to bed, I will practice one chunk out loud. When you link your new habit to an existing habit, it's easier to remember and easier to stick with. Consistency also makes practice feel easier. At first, 10 minutes might feel hard, but after a week, it feels normal. After a month, it feels automatic. And after 3 months, you won't even think about it. It'll just be part of your day. And that is when the magic happens. That is when fluency starts to feel natural. So, starting today, commit to 10 minutes of English practice every single day. No excuses, no skipping. Just 10 minutes. And watch how much you improve in the next 30 days. You will be amazed. Now, let me put everything together for you. Let me give you a simple action plan that you can start using today to speak English more fluently and confidently. Let me recap everything we talked about today so you have a clear action plan. Fluency and confidence are not about knowing more words or studying more grammar. They're about changing how you think, practice, and use English, and you can start making these changes today. Step 1. Stop translating and start thinking in English. Use the narrate your day technique. Describe what you are doing in English out loud or in your head. Label objects in your home. Think in English during small moments throughout the day. This rewires your brain to process English faster. Step 2. Build speaking speed with chunking. Learn common phrases as whole units, not word by word. Practice saying chunks out loud until they feel automatic. Use them in real sentences. Shadow podcasts and videos to train your mouth and brain to produce English naturally. Step 3. Change your mindset about mistakes. Stop seeing mistakes as failures. Start seeing them as lessons. Remember that communication is more important than perfection. Every time you try to speak, even if you make mistakes, you are making progress. Step 4. Use practical confidence strategies. Start with low-pressure practice like talking to yourself or recording yourself. Prepare key phrases before conversations. Focus on communication, not perfection. These strategies will help you feel more confident every time you speak. Step 5. Create speaking opportunities every day. Shadow podcasts, think out loud, record voice messages, join online communities, find a language exchange partner. Even 10 minutes of real speaking practice a day will make a huge difference. Step 6. Stay motivated by celebrating small wins. Keep a speaking journal. Record yourself once a week and compare your progress. Focus on how far you have come, not how far you still have to go. Enjoy the process, not just the goal. Step 7. Commit to consistency. Practice for 10 minutes every single day. Make it a habit. Link it to something you already do. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. Small daily practice builds fluency faster than long, irregular study sessions. That is your action plan. 7 simple steps. You do not need to do everything at once. Start with one step today. Maybe you narrate your breakfast in English, or you practice one chunk out loud, or you record yourself talking for 1 minute. Just start. Because the only way to become fluent and confident is to practice, and the best time to start is right now. Now it is your turn to practice. Here's a simple challenge for you. Choose one common chunk from this episode.